The fatality rate across Africa from COVID-19 is becoming very troubling, and that's according to the head of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, who says the continent's death rate is now higher than the global average. Africa's confirmed deaths are approaching 100,000, with more than 3.6 million cases overall. 16 countries have shown interest in securing COVID-19 vaccines under an African Union initiative, and it's hoped this will be delivered in the next 3 weeks.
9 a.m. East African time, the world has recorded 103 cases of COVID-19, of which 2.2 million people have unfortunately died, with a case fatality rate of 2.2%. Now, when this pandemic just started last year, indicating that 1,000 people had died was very troubling. My fear today is that with the large number of deaths that have occurred, this begin to become numbers rather than people. I would like us to continue to remember that these are individuals, they are loved ones, they are sisters, mothers, brothers, uncles, really, and to put a face to these numbers so that they cease from being just statistics. That's my greatest, it will be a tragedy if we begin to normalize these deaths going forward.
We're joined now by Dr. Obi Adigwe, the Director General of the National Institute for Pharmaceutical and Research Development here in Nigeria. Doctor, the first thing I'd like to ask is, what is it that is making it seem like the numbers are obviously rising? Is it because we're testing more, or is it a case of we're just not managing the cases properly?
Well, I think it's a bit of several factors, including these ones you've mentioned. There's obviously an increased rate of testing across the continent, but also based on the data that's coming from both African countries and from outside Africa, there are more aggressive and transmissible variants of the virus circulating within populations. But also, there's been some research that has indicated that the non-pharmaceutical measures, which used to be the bastion of the response against COVID-19, are not being as effective as they used to be during the first wave. So the combination of these and several other factors obviously are contributing to some of the figures that you're seeing now.
And I wonder why those non-pharmaceutical measures are no longer working as far as this second wave is concerned. But let me very quickly come in with an alarm raised by the World Health Organization, saying that Africa is leading from behind as far as the race for the COVID vaccine is concerned. Why? And are there any plans? How is it your institute closing the gap, if at all?
Let me take the first one. It's not that the non-pharmaceutical measures are not working as well as they used to. It's just that people aren't paying as much attention as they were the first time. There's obviously some fatigue, and it behoves on people like us, the press, health communication experts, as well as public figures, to ensure that the message keeps going out there and people don't get fatigued by those measures. Now, coming to the second question about the WHO, I hate to sit with elephants in the room, so let me address this one straight away. I think it's absolutely disgraceful the way that Western nations have started scrambling for vaccines. These are people who would normally preach equity and take the moral high position when it comes to interventions like this. So we need to put in record that it's absolutely disgraceful, the current scramble that's going on in Western nations to the detriment of people like us in Africa. But for the WHO as well, I think the World Health Organization needs to move away from its petulant finger-wagging position that's currently being taken, right now, to start putting forward, concrete steps to call some of those developed countries to order. What's the benefit of 54 African countries being in the WHO if at a time like this our interests are not protected?
Yeah, but I'm wondering
to do anything to any country in the world. If Canada wants to order 300 million, they're paying for it.
Well, that's the debate. On the one hand, is the WHO an organization which should, impinge on people's sovereign rights, or is it just an advisory committee that's out there? And that's one thing that we as a country need to understand, because in other scenarios, say when we're bringing in medicines into Nigeria, and development partners tell us that we can't procure those medicines unless they have WHO pre-qualification, we'll listen to that. So why won't developed countries also listen to WHO at this point in time?
So what is Nigeria doing?
Measures that the WHO can take.
Okay.
It can call out some of those countries by name. It can look at sanctioning some of the members of those countries that have been nominated into committees. There's certain steps it can take to show the world that it's more serious than it currently is taking.
But I'm more interested in what steps Nigeria is taking, and of course the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Development, which you represent.
So regarding vaccines for COVID, we're already on the back foot, because Nigeria, as we sit down here today, doesn't have vaccines manufacturing competencies. The National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, NIPRI, the body I head, has taken a step forward in several other interventions. As you're aware, vaccines aren't the only interventions that can address COVID. It's just that vaccines have currently taken over the airwaves. In pharmaceutical interventions, you have three broad divisions. You have the vaccines, you have the conventional medicines, and then you have phytomedicines. Nigeria has a comparative advantage in phytomedicines. My institute was the first about a year ago that indicated that a phytomedicine called Andrographis paniculata could have activity against COVID-19.
So why aren't we taking advantage of that?
Currently, countries like Thailand have already moved forward to use that same product in addressing COVID-19 in their setting. Where we are limited is that we have not been able to get the relevant funding to take it to clinical trials. And that's where people need to step in to support the work that the Institute is doing.
Okay.
I guess Dr. Obi Adigwe, so many questions begging for answers, but we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. DG, National Institute for Pharmaceutical Development.
My pleasure.